Before you skip ahead or continue, check the timestamps, check the playlist for specific floor sets, check out my merch store for Deep Dungeon related apparel. Cue the intro. Hello, I'm Angelus Demonus with a Dawntrail live tutorial guide for Palace of the Dead solo on Pictomancer if your goal is to get the Necromancer title. This live tutorial guide will cover floors 161 to 170. I will provide aggro and sleep intel on the top of the screen for every pull. This will be the start of where I will be a little more careful about what I pull and when I pull. The going theme for Pictomancer is if you have your full burst, you can just about kill anything. But if your burst is unavailable, certain enemies can spell big trouble. I highly suggest gandering at the timestamps in the description below if you wish to look for specific tips that may help you or floors you might be stuck on. If you are looking for the other floor sets, be sure to check the playlist on the upper right card or in the description below for the link. If you have any questions on anything that goes on with this run, things I may not have covered, or if you are confused on anything, be sure to leave them in the comments below and I will try to respond as soon as I can. No single question is silly, and every single experience is unique. Be sure to keep me posted on how your own runs are going. Good luck, have fun, and I hope this guide helps you. Welcome to the 161 to 170 set, Jurassic Park, Dinoville, whatever you want to call it. We are going to do a couple checks here. Food check. If your food has already been not filled up or is getting low, good time to refill the food. Potion check. If your pot shards and your sustaining potions are a little bit lower, you can go and refresh them. If you pick some up on the floor, which we picked some up on the last floor, you can totally refresh them if needed. Make sure your Addle and your Sleep are on your hotbar if you haven't already. By now, you really should have them. This floor set will certainly be a lot more focused in on balancing what to kill later. It's like everything you can kill on Pictomancer, but there's gonna be certain enemies that you may not want to fight right away and you want to wait for your bursts for, while there are other enemies that you totally want to pull if you have no burst. And that isn't just your burst, that's also your defenses. So we're gonna try to balance that, kind of explain that as we go along. Still gonna be testing our sleeps and everything as well, so to showcase what can sleep up here, and we'll do all that as we climb in. So let's step on in. Our arm and armor is almost capped. We are at 99 and 97 now, and hopefully we'll be able to finish it off on this file. If it's your first time here, one more time, raising check. Highly recommend, if you haven't seen anything above this floor, raising here. Really good idea to do so. I will not raising because I should be good to go in terms of what I'm gonna handle here. First order of business is the patrol. Actually, it's for this patrol. This is a sight patrol. It is annoying, however, we have the shielding defense. So this thing is going to open with a chilling tone. After that, you want to pop the shield, because it's going to use a ability that will be a slow. Right there. It broke my shield, so therefore it's putting the slow on me. So we might pull another one when my shield comes back up, to see if I can block it with Addle. Worry about that later. Next enemy here is the Lindwurm. It is sight aggro. It is one of the easier pulls to go for, so you may want to consider holding your burst on this enemy, and hold it for the next enemy which we'll fight, which will be the Croc over there. Does a Conal as such. I'm going to check the sleep. I actually didn't check the sleep on the patrol, so we're going to check the sleep here. It is Sleepable. There you go. That's the sleep right there. I know the patrol is floating around, but I'll pull it later. I don't want to be in that one. That's going to be a pretty painful AoE. It's not going to directly kill you, but it's going to do a lot of damage. Okay, that's the Lindwurm. Now, the Croc is going to be one of those dangerous type enemies where you want to make sure that you have a good burst when you're about to pull these. These only do double attacks, no telegraphs. It is sight aggro. We're going to check the sleep here. Boom, it sleeps. So here again, you want to make sure that you have a good burst. You'll see the damage coming in if it catches up to me, which it did there. Gonna do the blast here. Okay, cool. Now we're gonna come back to this one. I didn't check the sleep here, so let me get my motifs back up. Again, patrol, sight aggro. Checking the sleep. It'll open with a Conal, followed by the thing. So I'm actually gonna go shielding, then I didn't hit the right button. I don't know, I think I was late. I think I was actually late. I hit the wrong button there. I'm gonna do that again. For the real test there. The slow is pretty nasty. And by nasty, I mean really nasty, especially on this job. Especially if you're in talent. Alright, we're out of this floor, so we actually didn't even leave the spawn room. There's actually one more enemy we can fight, which is over here, which I will right now. This is a Sight aggro. I'm gonna check the sleep here. It does a conal and only single attack, so it's definitely on the side of one of the enemies you'd like to fight, because of how much better it is to fight through. But you can just blow it up. Again, I did also open with a strength, if I did mention, if that kind of snuck in there. I definitely recommend using strengths as you opener, even if you have two. Kind of helps you kind of get a good pacing through the floors. Let me see if I find that. I know there's another patrol floating around, so I might try to pull it just to demonstrate, see if I can get... Oh, the Addle's not going to be ready, though. Maybe the next floor I'll do it on. Exit is blocked here. There's another chest. I'm going to check this chest first. There can be sometimes a trap like 1 foot off this wall, so be careful with that one. Be nice if it shows up here. Not quite. Patrol is coming this away, so we want to avoid the patrol. It is side aggro. Oh, okay, well, great. I did check the sleep. Gonna potion here. Gonna shield anyway. Okay, broke the shield, it's fine. Still didn't get to test the Addle, because I think the Addle just came out. Looks like I have an opening to the crocodile at the moment. Want to be careful here. Okay. I'm gonna ignore... Ooh, you know what's... Okay. I get to show something really cool off right now. A really cool tech to know about Deep Dungeon. Actually, anything in this game, I think. If the enemy is below 75% HP, they cannot aggro. It's just something that happens. Mimics ignore this. But if they're below 75%, they are unable to aggro. I hope I don't mess this up. So we're gonna hit a landmine here. Watch this. Landmine. Boom! They drop below here. This thing is supposed to be sight. No aggro. If this thing goes above 80%, it's going to tick up to 70, then 80, it will aggro. Below 75%. So right there was actually a very niche strategy that you can do, where I would trigger the landmine and just make my way through to the exit, presuming you don't make a disaster of it and aggro as you're doing the landmine and then die that way, because that can kill you. But that's a little bit of a niche strategy that they can utilize. I actually like that a lot, because it can get you through a lot of things. Now, Mimics will ignore that. Not that you'll ever find an opportunity to use it on a Mimic, because they're gonna aggro by the time you get there, but that's really, really nice to have. Alright, Blind is going to be a little treacherous, because if we miss any of our big hits, that can cause a lot of problems. So we're definitely gonna give this a little bit of care when pulling stuff. I may want to have really a big burst for anything overly dangerous like the Croc over here. Let me see. Okay, let me check the chest here before we proceed. Sure. Now that little tech with the landmine, I've known that, by the way, since like the beginning of Heaven on High, because you would always be checking silver chests, you clip an enemy, then you're like, why didn't aggro? But it becomes more apparent in Eureka Orthos, because of the auto-heal disable and storms. When you start walking along things and everything's at 1 HP, you're gonna see they're not gonna aggro, except the Mimics, because the Mimics, they go to 1 HP, they aggro anyway. Okay, here we're gonna test the Addle here. I'm gonna shield, I'm gonna Addle. Let's see if we can actually block it with the Addle. Nope. Oh wait, yes it did. I think it did. I think it did block the shield. I gotta sleep the alligator here because it aggro. I think it did actually block the shield. I didn't take the slow. Neat. But maybe the Addle is enough on that one. Okay, I'm gonna hard cast the motifs here because this is slept. I'm in combat. Could it happen in the open world if there was a way to lower the HP indirectly? I would think that's a global mechanic in terms of low HP. I would think so. I don't know how you can manipulate it in the overworld for it to not immediately go back to full HP after dropping it low, but I think for all purposes it should do it. Ignoring the patrols here. Okay, I do want to get across to check the chest. Even if they're Mimics, we do not want to be fearful of Mimics. This was definitely on some of the other jobs that have interrupt. You don't want to be afraid of Mimics, and this is even more so in terms of opening chests. Now, funny, as I was saying that, we had an Alteration which has a chance at spawning Mimics, and in this case, I will be passing on the Alteration because any Mimic that may potentially show up on a floor could be in my way. And I would rather not have to deal with that personally. Especially focusing on the clear run, you know? So we will not be using a lot of alterations until you see me up until about 171, potentially in 181, potentially 171. Here I'm going to focus in on some of the easier enemies because of that blind. I want to respect the blind, and I don't want to be pulling a Croc because if I miss too much on the Croc, it could cause a lot of problems. So we kind of handled the Lindwurm, which I kind of identified as a little bit of an easier pull. So I'd be okay with this thing kind of lasting a little longer, because I missed GCDs here. Okay, moving along. Might go into this room to get a pull in. I know that there was one of the Sarcos in the exit, but I'm gonna clear out these two in case I need more than that. Because I think outside of that, there's nothing else outside of the crocodiles. The Crocs. I missed my big burst there. My strength is also down. We're not going to re-up it right now. I actually didn't see that patrol till late. Alright, this will be the last one I'll pull, and then I'm actually gonna drag this through to the exit. So we're gonna actually, this could be a little... I guess I'm not. The patrol's coming in, so I'm just gonna hang here now. I was gonna take this and, like, kill it slowly, slide casting towards the exit, but now I gotta wait for that patrol to kind of get on out of here. Okay, moving along. What is this? I don't remember. Alteration, okay. This one was... safety. But I sided, so it doesn't matter. And then this one was... I don't remember. Okay. I'm gonna chill here. Because I gotta wait for this patrol to come in. Everything kind of just moved, but that Sarco is looking right at the exits. It's gonna make it a little complicated here. I'm gonna hang to the right side. This one may not become a problem. I'm gonna wait for this guy to move, hopefully. He moves sometime in today. Thinking about what I want to do on the next floor. I don't think I do anything currently. Ew. Oh, that patrol's coming into. Oh, now you move. These are all site aggro, so I might be able to squeeze my way through here. Perfect. That wasn't too bad there. But those are all site, and I wanted to move quickly, otherwise that patrol is going to be bad. Okay, no debuff here, solid. Alright, we have our first case of the Wivres. These are like upgraded Crocs. Definitely on the scale of a little bit more dangerous, and also annoying because they are proximity aggro. So more than likely they need to die because they're blocking something. So we're going to actually... Here's a really neat trick. I'm going to give credit to Velvet for this one. She taught me this one. So one of the neat things with Slidecasting that you have, basic sprint knowledge. If you sprint out of combat, 20-second sprint. If you sprint in combat, 10-second sprint. Now, if you slide cast, which basically means as you're casting before the cast finishes you move, you can actually get your sprint off, still out of combat, before you actually land an attack on the enemy. A little bit nice on the uptime with sprint here, so we're going to hopefully demonstrate that on this one to get a little bit more movement here. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to slide and sprint. You'll see a 20-second sprint on that one. So at least you buy a little bit extra as opposed to opening with the sprint before the pull. Which typically you do with like Machinists. So like you would open with the sprint and then start pulling, but then you don't have to worry about casting, right? But that's one way to maybe a little optimization with your sprint if you want that extra bit and the extra go for there. Now here... I will have a burst in about 15 seconds, and that Wivre needs to go. This one is fine, because he doesn't seem to be blocking to the exit, but this one needs to go. So I am going to pull this. I'm going to have a potion running as well. We will have to Swift with our Muse, and I will have 3 attacks here. That's 1, that's 2, and then the third one comes, and that's 3. Okay. Now we also do need to check if this thing sleeps, so hold on a minute. Gonna pop a potion, gonna do this one. Let's do a sleep check here. It does in fact sleep. And now that one has blocked my way. But while we're here, how about we do a little bit of what we call the sleep tech? Because that alligator's here. So we're gonna do what we call sleep tech. I'm gonna try to do it once per floor. Basically, I want to get about 2 rooms away from this thing, and then it will de-aggro. So I'm gonna bring it all the way over here. We get hit first, and then I'm gonna pop the sleep here so I don't get interrupted. It sleeps here. Now I'm gonna run away from this, gonna smudge out of here. Something just respawned in that room. I think. No, that's from the draw distance. I'm probably gonna take the crocodile with me, but that's perfectly fine. But watch the left side and the top. You're gonna see the top hopefully go yellow because we go far enough. Actually, perfect. There it is, yellow. That's the de-aggro. So that's our sleep tech with sleep. Good with sleep. You get 2 rooms away. Boom. You don't have to worry about the enemy. Now in that specific instance, I would say that's a little unnecessary. I didn't need to do it there. However, that was a demonstration. Ow. Let's do my shield too. I have a potion coming up. That's where you're going to see the weakness of this class. The damage that you take is going to be a lot without steel. That's why it's really beneficial to have that burst available as much as you can. Because it will end fights a lot faster, so you don't have to take that much damage. Okay. Exit's over there. I have a mediocre burst at the moment, so what I would want to do here, I want to get into this room, we want to pull the Lindwurm and fight it normally. We're going to wait for our burst to kind of come back here, and then probably blow up the Wivre, who's probably going to block us. This thing's going to open with the Conal here. Again, ooh, holding my burst here. I'm going to have to pop a potion here to kind of keep myself going here. Gonna do 1 Muse. Okay, we are actually out. So that's good. If I have to pull it, I do have a burst available. Flights. Cuts the amount of kills I need by half on the next floor. Going into the 4th one. Okay. 4th floor. Now, we had talked about the previous floor having the overabundance of debuffs, possible debuffs. You kind of saw it at the latter half. Here, you're not going to expect as much of that debuffs on this set. Now, you'll still see debuffs or buffs, but you're going to see as much of it. So, if you kind of walk into here and you're like, oh, it's clean, it's clean, it's clean, it's not surprising. Alright, here we have the Vinegaroon. Really fun enemy to go for. We're going to open with a sleep because there's nothing here. Checking for the sleep here. It does not sleep. Really fun enemy here. It's going to do a front conal first. And then it's going to do a back if you go behind it. Now, why this makes it really fun is because if you keep running behind it after it finishes, it will kind of get stuck casting this thing the whole time. So it's really good damage mitigation, but it's a little bit trickier on Pictomancer because of your long casts. But this is one of the better pulls to have. Even if you're pulling with something else, you can totally just do this and he'll just be stuck here about 8 times. He'll actually turn around eventually to do his front conal, but then he'll go back to doing the back. So always run behind those enemies whenever you deal with them. Really fun ones to pull. Steel is fantastic, however, I'm going to use it a little later. So because we've been going through these enemies pretty well, I want to use it more going to the next floor. I don't need to really defend myself on enemies on this floor. Mimic. Okay. I may not kill it in time. I do have the Purity, so if I have the Purity, I'm more than likely I will. Okay, we're definitely gonna Purity here. Gonna shield. So I have 3 Purity, and so I will use one almost right away here after I kill this. There's no more chests on the ground, so I'll probably use the Purity. Purity first, just to keep it off me. Popping the chests. And we are 98 on the armor. Finally getting to the cap on that one. Wish those enemies were on every floor set, the Vinegaroons. I know, they're being really nice though. It's between those and the Troubadours. The Troubadours are also really easy to go for, but I guess, you know, should have at least a little bit of a challenge, huh? Okay, off the floor. Gonna pick up the steel and off we go to the next floor. This, I believe, is the Alteration. Now, just a little bit of a little strategy talk. if I took the Pox right now with the 2 Purity, it actually opens the door now for me to use an Alteration. Why would I do that? Well, if I get Mimics, I already have Pox on, so it's kind of like, whatever, I'm just gonna keep the Pox on that I already had to begin with. Now, if I get Corrigans, it's really lucky, because that gets me off the floor there. But that is when you may actually see me start using Alteration, if I'm in this position where I only have 2 Purity and I have Pox on. Because I'm not willing to use the 2 Purity unless I was in the situation like I was mentioning on the previous set, which was I'm going into the boss, or I'm going to transform, because those are the 2 worst times to have Pox on. Where you don't have an auto regen in like a Rage or Lust situation, or you're not doing as much damage as you would like to on the boss, or you're taking even more damage because you're not regenning, you know? So those are the kind of the ones I look out for, but we'll see if the situation comes into play. Pulling the Vinegaroon here. Again, as it does the front tonal, you get behind it right away, so you can block it in position with the thing. We do have a second one floating around, but that's okay. Do I use Fortune in conjunction with Alteration? I feel like I get more drops than I do. So, it's a little bit of a complicated answer, Arya. I am very, very conservative with my Fortune. And so, I will tend to utilize that situation as an excuse to do the Fortune. Now, personally, I feel like it's a little redundant because the enemies, either it being a Mimic or a Corrigan, will have a higher drop rate, so I feel like it's a little redundant that way. I don't know, I don't have the numbers to really prove that it's redundant, but that's what I feel like. But if I'm looking for excuses to do a Fortune, and maybe I'm going to kill other things on the floor anyway, it's like, okay, may as well just do it. So that's where I typically do it, but it's only because of kind of that logic that I go with. Okay, Archaeosaur here. One of the more dangerous enemies, I would say a little less dangerous than a Wivre, later on the Triceratops. They will do double attacks, but they also do an AoE. So we're going to pull one, and then we're going to open with the sleep, check for the sleep. It is sleepable. And also, it's one of those enemies where, like, the attack that it's doing, it feels like it hurts. Like, it just sounds like it hurts, you know? But that's where you get a little bit of a break right there. The double attack is pretty painful, but you get a little bit of a breather with it doing the thing. With it doing the AoE. We have another enemy here that we haven't pulled yet, which is the Mylodon. I will get over there. Get over there first and talk about it. If I didn't mention, the Archaeosaur is a Sight aggro. And just to review the aggros here, Sight for the Croc, Sight for the Sarco, Sight for the Archaeosaur, Proximity for the Wivre. That's why it's a priority pull. Sight for the Croc, and these 2 Mylodons are Sight, as well as the Vinegaroon is also Sight. So in case I missed it, but it'll be showing regardless. Checking the chest first, really good habit to do so before you open the exit. You want to get rid of Mimics priority. So if a Mimic shows up, who cares? There is a Serenity, but I have a Steel on, so I think I'll just chill on the Serenity. Yeah, okay, figured I was gonna aggro that. Oh, wait, not you! Okay, well, didn't pull the right one. But that's okay, I'll sleep this one. We're gonna fight the Mylodon. It is Slight aggro. It opens with a Snow Flurry, and then it'll follow with a Slow Ball. The Slow Ball is a range attack. Doesn't do anything except damage, if it gets to it, that is. Gonna shield for it. Now, after going over what can sleep, that is good knowledge to have that I could sleep this one. I don't believe I could sleep the Mylodon. I will pull another one because I didn't check the sleep, but I was in a little bit of a quick reaction there. This thing's gonna probably open either with a double attack or the AoE. Double attack first, and then it'll do the AoE. Again, sleep coming in handy right here. One of the big advantages you can use as the caster, you just have to have a little bit of, you know, open mind that it's going to be something that you can do. Okay, so now we're going to open sleep on the Mylodon to check its sleep. It is unsleepable. Again, opens with the Conal. Now this Conal, if you get hit with it, I believe you're getting deep frozen. So there's a very high chance you're dying if you get hit with that. Not to mention the combination of the Snow Flurry right after. There it is. Okay, making my way back right now. Affluence, which I used and I didn't pick it up. I don't know what this chest is. I'm gonna check it. Pretty sure I checked it, but I don't remember. Deep Frozen is a stun plus DOT. Stun plus DOT. And the DOT, I believe, is very heavy. So in combination with you getting hit, you're also just probably gonna die from the dot. It's a big ouch. And most DPS, if you get hit with anything deep frozen, you're probably just dead. I mean, the Chimeras will just clean you out. But anything here, so the patrol, the Tursus patrol, the Serpent patrol, they do a deep freeze, you probably die if you get hit with it too. Can you sleep the same monster again? Yes, however, it starts entering diminishing return. So the first sleep is 30 seconds. If it wakes up and you re-sleep it immediately, the next sleep is 15, then the next sleep is 7, then the next sleep is 4, or it's fully resistant. So you get the diminishing return with the sleep. Now, the diminishing return does reset after 60 seconds. So an example, if I sleep something for 30 seconds, and I actually wait a whole 60 seconds, so it's 30 seconds, it wakes up, you don't sleep it for the next 30 seconds, the resistance resets, and you'll get another 30-second full duration sleep. But if you sleep it within that 1 minute duration, it will get cut in half due to diminishing returns. I think you still get 7, Aria. I think it's still 7. It might resist after 7, but I'm almost certain you at least get a 7 after the 15. 7 or 8. We do have our first instance of a Diplo, but I'm gonna pull the Vinegaroon first. I may also think about a strength. Actually, maybe not. I'm not gonna do a strength. Also, time check. Let's do a time check. We entered the 6th floor. I mentioned this on the previous floor. I like to do time checks on the 6th floor. So what I care about is, am I over 30 minutes or am I under 30 minutes? If I'm over 30 minutes, we are maintaining a very solid pace. I don't need to go any faster. If we are under 30 minutes, I need to go a little bit faster because we're going a little slow. We need to consider a flight, rage, something to help us speed up. But we are over. 6 minutes over, so we're looking pretty good. Triceratops, kind of the last more dangerous enemy. Again, it's similar to a Wivre, similar to the Croc. They will just do double attacks, probably the more deadlier of them. My steel is also wearing off, so I want to be a little bit careful here. Checking the sleep here. It is sleepable. Big hit coming up. Boom. Shielding is going to be really good here, especially if your steel is going to go down. To just basically open with the shield, or when it gets really close, so that you block the double attack coming in. Now the Diplo, I know for a fact you can sleep, but we'll also check it. Now the Diplo, when you pull it, you'll open with a Mukin, which is a big stone skin on it for 8 seconds. Now this is the one benefit of being caster. You don't have the interrupt that is interruptible, but you can sleep it. So basically what you want to do here as a Pictomancer, you have a couple ways of handling it. You would do 2 GCDs, then a sleep, or you do 1 GCD, wait for it to kind of like, wait about like a couple seconds and then sleep for the timing, because it does come out pretty fast. You have to kind of anticipate it to stop it. So 1 GCD, 2 GCD, sleep. There it is. That's a little tight, but that's the idea. Maybe even 3 GCDs, or you can just do a swift cast. But you do want to stop that Mukin, otherwise you basically just have to wait. You have to wait for that to wear off. Now, Pictomancer's burst damage would actually have enough damage to just wipe through the stone skin because you have so much. But it's damage going to breaking the stone skin when you can do the damage actually just killing it, you know? Here's an example of Stonehedge. Now, Stonehedge is kind of popular here because there is a potential trap on this right corner. Right over here. It's very possible it's there. And that's what makes this room kind of deadly. You can see kind of the 4 Stonehenge, stone pillars here. We call it Stonehedge because it kind of looks like Stonehenge. That's an example of that type of room where you would always, for safety reasons, always want to go around the left side, never really go around the right side of that room. Archaeosaur looks like to be my target here. I'm going to pop a potion here, and then as it gets closer, I will pop my shield to block its double attack. So right here, shielding. It already broke? No, it didn't broke my shield yet. Oh, it's already dead. Ah. Okay, going in to check the silver and then trying to make our way to the exit because we are at an orange key. We have killed a handful of enemies, so I want to maybe check the exit to make sure it's nice and clear. Donut room is tricky trying to get to the chest, so you want to be careful because you could hit a trap. Also, wait a couple seconds, open. You don't want to run into the bad combo of like hitting a landmine into a silver chest exploding, which will 100% kill you. So I always will hesitate on opening silver chests just to make sure I don't have that. And that's more so in that type of room, in that kind of donut room where you have to actually go into the room to get it. Definitely popping the steel here because we're encountering more dangerous enemies. Wivre is a priority pull here. I actually don't need that silver chest, but I'll work towards the silver chest regardless. Really don't need 99. I'm going to get 99 when I kill the boss later. But we will... go for it. If I open the exit though, I'm just gonna leave. I may actually want to kill this, but that's fine. I'm not gonna go get that chest, and we proceed to the next floor. Can actually demonstrate the sleep diminishing return. What enemy would I want to do it with? Ooh, flight. Oh, flight's really gonna be good. I could do it on the Triceratops. Yeah, we'll do it on the Triceratops. Okay, check. So I'm gonna pull it first. Today? Okay, guess not. Alright, so here, first sleep. 30 seconds. Second sleep. So again, this is within the 1 minute, so you're gonna see the resistance. That is 15. Third sleep. 7. Last sleep. I'm pretty sure this resists. Yep, that's resist. So it goes to 7 and resists after 7. Now, to be fair, Arya, it could be different depending on the content you're doing, but I know in Deep Dungeon that has always been the case, that it's always 30, 15, 7, and then the resist is there. So that's at least consistent. At least within the realm of Deep Dungeon, that's what it is. Another steal. So I'm gonna want to make sure the path is clear to get the steal in. So what I may want to do is I may want to kill this one and this one, the two enemies here. The Triceratops could block me with its pathing to the thing, and then Archaeosaur could block the chest just completely. So we're gonna be focusing on killing those two before we proceed. Yeah, no problem. I mean, it's still worthy to show it. I mean, it was a really good question anyway. I mean, may as well just like put it on display, right? No problem. Alright, pulling this one. Have a good burst, and I have my steal on anyway. And that's the steal I'm gonna reopen later. If you need any more convincing, and Pictomancer, man. Picto's strong. Look at the time. 30 minutes going into the 7th floor, and we have the next floor flighted, so we're going to be making very, very good time. The exit is blocked by a lot of proximity enemies. One thing that I did not note at the beginning of this floor, but now you're seeing in real time, so this set, I would say, for Pictomancer, is going to be a little bit harder than the previous set to some extent, because the enemies are going to hit you hard, and you have a lower defense. I mean, if you're not getting as much steal as I am, it's going to be a little trickier. You have to be a little bit more careful. But another thing that gives it the difficulty, it's not the complexity of the enemies. It's not like you're dealing with, you know, you're not dealing with the imps, you're not dealing with the soul flayers, you're not dealing with archdemons, which do the paralyze. It's more you have situations like this, where you have proximity enemies blocking you all over the place. So I have to kill these. I mean, I could do sleep tech, but that's going to be a little bit more complicated. So I have to get rid of them. And we spent the entire earlier floor in the earlier room getting rid of that so I can get that steal, you know, so this is extra kills. And something I like to say, which still holds true even in this situation. If you're killing past the exit, you are wasting time, you know? But in this instance, it's really tough to prevent that from happening, because the logic was still correct. I wanted to make sure the steal was open, so that I didn't have to fight my way to the steal. I could have fought my way to here, maybe get lucky over there, and then just pick up the steal without getting aggro. But I didn't know how many kills I'd need to get off the floor. But that is what makes this room, this floor set in particular, just a little bit trickier because of that. But you bought yourself a lot of time, 28 minutes going into the 8th floor with a flighted thing. I mean, this is the type of things where distributing the time throughout the run, 60 minutes, that you can afford yourself to make these extra kills and these extra efforts to kind of, you know, stay smooth along the run. And honestly, like, I mean, again, I'm talking from experience, so it isn't, what I hope is that I transfer as much of my knowledge to you guys as possible. But I know from my own Pictomancer runs, time really just doesn't become a problem. I'm more worried about getting obliterated by something. And even better, like, honestly, this is the one time that I'll do, like, a little bit of a comparison, but I do feel consistently faster than, say, Machinist. Now, you could argue Machinist maybe will be more consistently better to survive because of the kiting. You know, you can certainly make that argument, but I did find myself consistently faster on Pictomancer than I was on Machinist. But it's pros and cons. It's all about the pros and cons. So, I could go for the purity, but I think I'm just gonna go. Yeah, I will just go for now, because I'm running the steal. I want to get closer to the boss here. you know, I still gotta fight my way through the floor. So yeah, could I Fortune Rage get a couple things? I guess I could. But in this case, I want to try to get to that 9th floor with that seal still on, you know? Ooh, racing. Well, that's good. So we're definitely going to use that. Now I kind of feel a little bit more comfortable here. Again, this is flighted, so you're going to see less enemies on the floor, and we need half as many kills to get off of here. Do you want this bronze chest, because it could be a potsherd? I will take the Mylodon with me, because I do want to check the room over here. Diplo, there's nothing here, so I'm not going to bother over here. Okay, another case of the Stonehedge. We were mentioning it earlier that this has the possibility of having a trap right over there. Like that one. See? Examples. 2 of these can sleep. 2 of these can sleep. Wait, what? Okay, once again, 2 of these can sleep. So that's a really great example there of that thing. Of that trap existing on that pathing way. So that's why you don't go to that side. Gotta make sure. I have the raising on, so I'm okay here. And this is also where sleep is really handy. Now I gotta be a little careful because I don't want to clip an enemy by accident here. So that one's gonna wake up. I'm actually gonna re-sleep the Triceratops here. Ow. Ooh. Okay. I'm a little bit stuck here because I would aggro that other Triceratops. I'm gonna cast my motif here, keeping the potion running, gonna shield up here. That Triceratops is gonna wake up any time now, so I'm gonna start doing splash on these guys. Just hit all of them. There you go. And the passage is already open. Can you run away and reset learning trials with sleep? Yes, yep, you could totally do sleep tech. So I could have ran away from this thing. I could have slept the 2 of them, run away from them. That's what I like to call sleep tech. But in this instance, the only issue there was that I'd run into this other Triceratops. So I felt that it was better and superior for me to handle these than to try to de-aggro them. Actually, I can show you the example right away here, Gims. I'd have to deal with that other Triceratops, but we can show it again. I don't mind. So this is what we call sleep tech. I want to get 2 rooms away from this. I'm going to sleep him right here. And then we're going to get 2 rooms away. And once you see 2 rooms away, you're going to see this thing de-aggro. It's going to turn yellow and it's no longer on me. And that's what we like to call the sleep tech, which is really, really good. Again, really only casters and healers can pull this off. Because a lot of the other CCs, with the exception of Ninja Bind, is going to last that long to make it work. So there's the aggro, so it is still slept, but I have lost the enemy, and I sheathed my weapon, so... Yeah, in that specific instance, it was tricky because I would have ran with the other Triceratops, so I would have been running with 4. And then, I don't know if that other Triceratops is already there, so that could have also made it a little complicated. We have 1 enemy I have not pulled yet, which I will make the effort to do so. Simply because if I don't see it on the next floor, I'm going to be very sad, so I'm going to pull it here. I might get the Triceratops because it's a little bit close. Nope, just kidding. This is a patrol proximity, checking if it sleeps here. It does have a quick lightning bolt AoE. And what I mean by quick is that we're not talking like blazing fast, but it may throw you off because it is a little bit faster than your typical AoE. So as a caster, you may actually get a little bit caught off guard that if you move late, like, okay, you're mid-casting, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna commit to this cast, and then you start moving, you're probably gonna get hit with Lightning Bolt. The Lightning Bolt is not going to be that big of a damage, luckily, so it's okay to get hit with it. You just don't want to cause too much tragedy by doing so. This probably aggros, so I'm just gonna pull this one. Okay. No! The interrupt is always going to be bad on caster, by the way. Shortcast might be a really good friend of yours. We may actually use a little bit of shortcasting on the boss later. But, yeah, that's one really big downside of the casters, is that you're getting interrupted here. Alright, into the 9th floor. I think our time is, like, exceptionally good. We're at 26. 23? Okay, that's not bad. 23 is good. And we are officially 99.99. We've made it. 169. Okay, so now, I will want to try to get as many chests as I can, but we also don't want to dilly-dally too much because I have the steel only at 2 minutes or less. So we're going to pull as much as I can, clear as much as I can, get to all these chests as much as I can. Definitely want to strength steel on the boss. Let's go with the pull. Wait, stop. Get those motifs up before I pull. Moving along. I'm navigating while trying to kill this thing. So we can try to do two things at once. Here I do want to observe the Diplo. I want to kill the Triceratops first. I'm going to watch the Diplo to see. Right now, that looks possible for me to get through without me taking the aggro. But I want to kill this first before we find out. Also, I want to check the chest first as well. So checking the chest here. Steel. Gonna hang on to that. I'd like it to go into the boss, so I don't want to use it too early. I want to clear up the floor first. Oh, well, changes that because I can use this one. And I want to use the one furthest away from the possible exit. I don't know where the exit is yet, but that would be the furthest away. So the exit's over here. This is pretty close. It's not over here, though. I would want to get this bronze chest, so I'm going to fight the Diplo. Again, 2 G-Cities and sleep. Or kind of 1 G-City and wait a little bit, sleeping coming in. Or you can do swift. You can do a swift sleep here to stop the mutant. Gonna have to wait a little bit. That is a paralyze. If you get hit with it, it's just a front conal. You can see the animation of how it goes off. Okay, perfect timing here. Gonna take the chest. No go on the potsherd. We actually still picked up, I think, 3 potsherds on this floor, so like my sustaining potions are really not a concern right now. We are good for like probably the whole run. I could probably not pick up any potsherds and we're good for the run. And just a reminder, we started with 20 and floor 1. We only had 20 with no potsherds and we're perfectly fine, you know. This has to probably go. This one probably not. So this one you can see it's right along, like right in that pathing of where I need to go. It's possible that this Archaeosaur will become a problem, but it doesn't look like it right now. So I'm gonna have to pull this one now. Gonna shield here to block the incoming damage. Broke the shield just now. Again, I want to make sure that I have like a really good clearance for that steel that is behind me. I want to make sure that if the exit's open, that I pick up the steel and basically just run to it. So this Triceratops doesn't seem to be giving me a problem, so I can leave it alone. Archaeosaur may... Oh, yeah, I just did. Okay, I was gonna say maybe, but it did actually get a little too close. This Triceratops probably has to go as well, then. Because of how close it is to the exit, probably goes backwards into it. So it's going to be the next pull, even if I open the exit. Because it could... By the time I get back here, it could be near the exit, so we have to kill it. And this is what makes this floor set a little troubling, because, like I said, if you're killing past the exit, you're quote-unquote wasting time. But this is the type of floor where, because everything is proximity, it's really hard to prevent that from happening, just because of the way the enemies are positioned and whatnot, you know? So trying to keep the kills to a minimum as best as you can is what you want to go for, and just being very precise on what you're pulling and why you're pulling it. Okay, so the exit should be clear. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to walk over to the steel. I'm going to pop the steel, then sprint. So hopefully I can have as much of that sprint as possible into the boss. I will also couple it with a strength. So this is the steel. Popping the steel. And then we sprint. And we switch. And we sprint. 18 minutes into the boss, we are really good on the boss. I will be using a lust onto the boss coming up. I'll try to explain as much as I can coming up here, because there's some definitely unique things to handle with Pictomancer and this boss. Okay. Cool. Oh, whoops. Okay. Popping the strength here. This one, I mentioned it on 160. This one will actually potentially feel a little bit better than 160, but there's still things you want to be a little bit careful with this boss. Hopping with the Lust, going for 5 hits. We might get interrupted here, which we did. May have to move because an AoE is going to come at us. We're good? Okay. Popping a potion again. Alright, so let's go. So now, first thing that's going to happen here, he's going to drop the Douse here. Then he's going to follow up with a double attack coming up to here. Going to be big damage. Could have the potential of interrupting you, so a sure cast might be really good. Here you want to save Smudge, because Smudge is going to be good for your Electrogenesis coming up. This might be a good time to kind of cast your Motis, but you might get cancelled. Gonna Smudge out of here. You have to either be sprinting or Smudge to be able to get out of that AoE with the initial heavy. Next, he's gonna come back into the Douse, and we're going into a little bit of a clockwise pattern here. You can go counterclockwise if you want to. It doesn't matter, but you want to be going and planting these things kind of as simply as possible, and making the most of them. Now, after the second heavy that you get, it will be now on Diminishing Return. We've been talking about a lot of Diminishing Return, so that was a much less timing, and I was able to move out of that AoE without having to do a sprint or a smudge here. So now that heavy is going to get less and less. Keeping the potion rolling here. Now, there's definitely going to be a couple spots to use your shielding here. I haven't used it on purpose because I wanted to kind of save it for, you know, particular situations here. Moving away from this thing. Good time to cast a motif here. So I would say this part here, where it comes in with like a double attack, really good time to use the shielding here. This right here is also a good time when it does yet another kind of double attack here, because more than likely you're breaking the shield. But actually, that Drance is where you may want to avoid using it. You probably want to use it on the first part, not the second part, and I'm going to explain why. So, one of the things with the Diminishing Return on the Heavy is that if it applies on you, then you get the Diminishing Return. So actually, if you block it on the first bit, you are going to successfully not take the Heavy. Well, this is the one that doesn't give the Heavy, so I apologize, it's the second one. Anyway, you want to do it if you... Okay, let me just do it. Let me reset my brain here. Douse is going to come in. So I'm going to use the shielding here. So you're going to watch. I'm not going to take the Heavy. I should be taking the Heavy here because my resistance is up. So I block the Heavy here. So as I should be taking the Heavy, I don't take it here. But because I don't take the debuff, the next time it hits me, when my shield isn't available, I'm going to take that debuff now. So you just want to be... kind of paying attention that if you do block that attack, that you don't get surprised that you get weighted, you know, that you get the Heavy. So you're gonna see the Heavy come into here now. Again, you can consider a sure cast because I might get interrupted. There's the Heavy. But it's really easy to get out for Pictomancer. So you could certainly think about just basically doing the shielding on demand whenever it's available if you want to, and just smudge your way out of here. But you know, you don't want to get caught off guard. If you use it and you're like, wait, wasn't I supposed to get the Heavy? You know, where is it? That's the reason why. It's because the shield can block it and will block it. I'm going to respect the casting here. My shield is going to come back up again, so I'll just kind of pop it now. Coming in for this number attack coming right now. You can see we've melted the boss. The boss is basically dead. And we're maintaining this kind of nice clockwise pattern here to kind of plant the puddles. You want them a little tight, because if you made them a little too erratic, you might be kind of running all over the place just to make sure you find an open spot. So that's why I kind of like this like very neat positioning with the puddles. Might get interrupted. Ooh, good to go. Popping a sustain here. Double attack coming in. I have not used my max potion at all yet, so we've been kind of okay with our healing, whereas the 160 boss, I was definitely using it quite a bit just to kind of keep ourselves up there. Okay, casting here. Gonna cast the motif, probably get interrupted. Yep, there's the interrupt, so that's one tricky part about the motif, especially if you're in that long cast, you may get that interrupt. But a short cast will be useful. Popping a potion again, just out of safety. Almost done with this boss. And I guess I should take the Heavy here, So let's say your Smudge is unavailable. I didn't take the heavy. Anyway, if your Smudge is unavailable, you'd want to be sprinting right about now. You had to sprint here, and you'll be able to run on the AoE if you had the full duration of the heavy. So just in case Smudge wasn't available, and maybe you're like using Smudge to like get out of puddles or whatever it might be, that's your backup plan to get out of it. But Smudge usually, because it's 20 seconds, is gonna be available like every time. So it should be the one that you use to exit that AoE. And that is 161 to 170.